The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, we are highlighting families forever changed by crime and loss. Sunday is the National Day of Remembrance for homicide victims all across this country. A day reserved for remembering, reflecting, and resolving to make a difference and ending deadly violence out there. Our next guests are here to share their stories. Parents Leticia Ybarra, who is mother of Jessica Perez, and Mike Johnson, father of Cody Johnson, and of course Andy Kahn of Houston Crime Stoppers. Glad to have you all here on The Factor Uncensored. Leticia, it never gets any easier, does it, as a parent?
It doesn't. You know, it's been 5 years since my daughter was murdered. 2 years since the case was resolved. The man who killed her is away in prison. He's gone for a very long time. But you're right, it doesn't end. We are forced to live the new normal of life without her. We've got life events that happen without her. And you know, the silence of her absence is still very deafening, you know.
And when you got or received that justice, was it what you expected or far less?
It was less. You know, it's a complicated situation. I am grateful that we reached a plea deal. I didn't have to sit through court, look at evidence, hear him defend himself. So in that sense, you know, I'm grateful for that. But, you know, there's not a number of years that's enough for what he did and what he took from us and the lives that were affected by what he did. It's so incredibly far-reaching, and there's just not a number of years that could fix any of it or even make us feel any better. I'm just glad he's off the street. He can't hurt anybody else for a while. And
I don't want you to have to relive it, but for those viewers who were not familiar with Jessica's case, what happened there?
So this guy was someone that she knew just a couple weeks. I think a love interest, maybe they just started dating. He knew her. And he just brutally murdered her in her apartment one morning. You know, again, not going through further details, but it was just incredibly brutal and just awful. He was caught on site that day and confessed.
Did you ever see yourself on this journey now, becoming an advocate, helping other parents out there? Did you see that for yourself?
You know, I didn't. I didn't know what I was going to do with this. A long time ago, I just prayed. I was like, God, I don't know what you want me to do with this, but I'll go wherever you lead. And so, you know, this is a little bit of reward for all of the suffering that we do. You know, it's an avenue for where we can make a difference and where me and my friends that are doing the same can make a positive out of just this incredibly terrible, awful situation.
And Mike, you lost your son, Cody. You were there, and I've seen that pose almost holding on to your child, your son that you've lost. Tell us what happened to Cody.
Well, it's really kind of a mystery at this point. The assumption is it's a road rage incident on I-10 and 99. They don't have any answers, really. They've kind of made assumptions. The killer's never been caught. He could be driving right next to you any day of the week. And most statistically, he's likely to do it again and take somebody else, if he hasn't already. It's just a horrible situation.
And how often do you think it could be that person right next to me on the freeway or driving down the street?
I really don't ever think that way because I really don't know who it is. I can't make that assumption. But I always wonder, is my wife safe? Is my other son safe? Is my daughter safe? You know, and I always worry about that because somebody cuts me off in traffic, I get angry. But now I've come to a point where you just kind of take a deep breath where, you know, we don't know what really happened and it just needs to stop. I mean, the value of life needs to come back.
And you have stepped up to the front lines as a parent, sharing your story and helping others. What motivated you to do that, to take that extra step, not only to remember your child, but to help other people out there?
I think the biggest reason I put myself in front of the cameras when called upon is because I can't have his loss be worth nothing. And every single day, he did something He included so many different people in his life at all times. It didn't make a difference who you were, big, small, fat, ugly, it doesn't matter. He would make everybody laugh. How can I let him down by not helping somebody else up? I mean, before coming here, I helped a guy at a gas station to jump his car. It doesn't make a difference. We're all here to help each other. At the end of the day, if we don't do what we're supposed to do and not supposed to help one another, then I'm not being the person I was born to be.
And Andy, you're here with these parents. What is it like to see the evolution as well? Many of them, you know, their hearts are broken. They come grieving, but then you see them evolve into advocates, people who are standing up for others, in court with other families. Your thoughts about that?
You know, Isaiah, in my over 30 years as a victim advocate and serving as a board member of Parents of Murdered Children and surviving family members of homicide, you know, I can't go back and change what happened to Mike. I can't go back and change what happened to Leticia. But we try to make things better for others to come along, and you've achieved a lasting legacy. Taking a negative and turning it into positive action for social change, that's what we try to do. Parents of Murdered Children is the only organization in the country in which someone else writes out your membership for you. None of them ever wanted to be part of this group, and yet here we are, and every day I always say to myself, there by the grace of God, go you and I.
Absolutely. It's exclusivity no one wants to be a part of. And when we come back, we'll talk about a special event you guys have coming up this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue here on The Factor Uncensored with our guests. Stay with us. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We continue the conversation on justice for crime victims ahead of the National Day of Remembrance. Our guests are back here on The Factor. So, Andy, there will be an event this Sunday.
Yep.
Tell us about that. And for those who are interested in attending, what do they need to do?
So the National Day of Remembrance is being held all over the country. So we are hosting at Crime Stoppers our event Sunday, September 21st from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is in conjunction with Parents of Murdered Children, and anybody in the public is invited to participate, come and show your support for homicide survivors. This is what it's about, is to honor and commemorate all those who lost loved ones to homicide. So this Sunday, 6:30 to 8:30 at Crime Stoppers.
And the information is there on your screen. If you have a chance right now, make sure you take that information down. And Leticia, you have been there before. Is there any, did you get a therapeutic feel by being there with other parents? Any type of feeling that would help other parents who may attend it?
Absolutely. You know, it's like Andy said, we didn't sign up for this. And homicide, murder of a family member is such a heavy, heavy topic. It's so hard to talk about. And we find ourselves explaining it to someone, or when we talk about it to someone who's not been through it, it's awkward, right? We make them feel uncomfortable. We know that. And so being surrounded by people who understand other victims, other advocates, where you, even if you don't talk about it, if you just in a room where people get it, right? It's super comforting. And just knowing the sheer number of people there, you know, you feel so alone when you're going through this. And so events like these also help us honor our family members. We talk so much about the defendants, right, and the actual crime, and this takes it off of them and back onto the people that we love that are just not here anymore.
And Mike, what would you say to a parent or family member who's never been to an event like this and they say, well, this is not for me? What would you tell them in order to encourage them to come, if you feel like that is the right thing for them to do?
I think there's a lot of different organizations and different things that do it, but this is such an important event. It's a time where we can talk about our child in a way that's not about just their death, it's also about their life. And you can actually be able to not say, oh, he was murdered because of road rage, or he was, or she was. And it's just one of those things where we can go, man, my son was so cool. He was driving, he had built his own Camaro Super Sport, and he also rode a motorcycle. He did all these things. He was living life to the full. I want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about, hey, the killer's still out there, and he's bound to do it again, and nobody's doing much about it. nobody wants to talk about that. Let's talk about their joys. Let's talk about who they actually were and how they were so inclusive and just the rewards that you see from it. In that event, you can actually go celebrate their life and not just remember their death.
And really quick, Andy, the details one more time for the viewers out there.
Sunday, September 21st from 6:30 to 8:30 at Crime Stoppers. We welcome the public, join us, and help let homicide survivors know that you support them.
All right, we want to thank you guys for joining us, and we wish you the best. And remember that event this Sunday.